Hey, what's going on, friends? My podcast every day is broken up into two parts on the free platform. The first part, Act 1, is right now. When it's all done, go right on over to Act 2 to get the second half of the podcast. Thank you so much for checking out my show. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Eric Zane Show podcast, a daily show where I discuss news, nonsense, and my personal adventures right here in the Impact Power Sports studio. Impact Power Sports, longtime sponsor and sponsoring the studio and partner of mine. You can pick up a Yamaha golf cart there. They can trick it out to your exact specifications so it looks like, I don't know, maybe you're a big fan of Bad Bunny. You can have your Yamaha golf cart all Bad Bunnied out, I guess. Thank you to them. You can also pick up a Yamaha, I should say a side-by-side ATV, UTV, motorcycle, e-bike. List goes on and on over at Impact Power Sports, online at impactpowersportsmi.com. So I always like to address the elephant in the room. That's what I always like to do. I always like to talk about it as quickly as possible. But in case you haven't heard, we lost Benny the One-Eyed Wonder Dog on Saturday, and I honestly just cannot believe it. And there's been an outpouring of support, and I appreciate that from people who have been commenting on the Facebook post. It really means a lot. It really, really helped. And oh my God, I am officially depressed. All the years that we've had pets, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what, but this one was a drag. Well, they're always a drag. I've never put a dog down and was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. No way. I have finished crying though, and I don't know if I'm like this on like when my loved ones that are human pass away. I don't know. I think I kind of just it's just weird. I don't know. I'm having difficulty describing how I'm feeling today, but I do think that there is some depression going on because I've found myself just feeling out of sorts. So if it seems like I'm kind of screwed up today, that might have something to do with it. But and I don't want to sit here and make anybody upset and bring the room down. But I've said to you many, many times that I'm an open book, and I like to describe my show as it has to be one of three things. Funny, interesting, or compelling. So I would like to say that this would be interesting or compelling. It might be funny. I don't know, to some of you. But, yeah, it was a long week last week, which culminated with him not recovering. On Friday after the show, I visited with Benny, and he was hang on, I got to sneeze. Pardon me. He got like right in my lap, and I kind of knew then. And he sat with me for about 40 minutes in my lap, and but he had him. There had been a couple of things that made me think that maybe he's going to turn it around. So Saturday comes, and things had not improved. And so much so that he actually was now starting to struggle to breathe. So what was going on, there was a lot wrong with the dog. So the decision was made there. And for the first time, I wasn't alone. We kind of had an all hands on deck type of moment because Jacqueline and Justin were there. Madison and Ash were there. And my daughter-in-law, Aubrey, and my grandson were there. My grandson's only 12. And so I was very concerned when he came in there. I said, hey, buddy. And I knew he was going to be there, but I made it a point to say, okay, so, and he gave me a big hug. And I said, this is how this goes, son. And I explained to him the process. And he was very brave. And I was just so glad that they were all there. Pooh Bear was in a tough spot. My dad is also struggling. And Joanne isn't doing that great as well. And she had scheduled a trip over there. And they really, really enjoy their visits when she comes, So she goes, I have a conundrum. What do? I go. Just because she was scheduled to leave Saturday. And so she is with my dad and Joanne. And she's just a bright ray of sunshine for them. Becca Shea says, oh, no, about Dad. Yeah, Dad is in hospice care right now, but it's long-term hospice care. He's still healthy enough, but there are some things that have to happen on a regular basis. Some folks are in hospice for extended time, for a long, long time, and that may be the case here. But anyway, Pooh Bear was there, and so she could not be. Now, she would not have gone to the actual when Benny crossed over to the Rainbow Bridge, but and I said to her, I go, I don't want to convince anybody. Either you're going to be there or you're not. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Even if she was home, I don't think she would have been there. She would have probably just stayed at home. And but I'm glad we were all there. But so that ends that chapter. And I can honestly tell you, the sorrow, the intensity of that. It was, oh, God. It took me up till last night for it to appear like my eyes weren't completely fucked. Like I think I did some type of damage with the amount of uncontrollable sobbing. It was like, ugh. That takes a lot out of you. I'm telling you, that's rough. That type of unbridled, painful sorrow. But it came and went, and I have plans for Benny, because I am going to try to facilitate the most fertile environment for a visit from a ghost. And if a dog ghost. All right, so this is my plan. Megan says the crying headaches are awful too. Yeah, that's another side effect. I didn't like that at all. So Benny, his favorite thing to do was, in this picture, you will see him laying in the sun. That was a big, big deal for my guy here. And this is up north. What a great picture. And I know exactly where he is in this spot. So, typically we keep the pet urns at the house, but I'm not going to do that with Benny. I am going to take the cremains and inter them into the ground, and I'm going to have a tombstone with like this picture here, or maybe this collage. I'm not sure. For sure, this picture. And so as a memorial in the sun. So he's going to be in the sun all the time. Can you imagine? He would be just bonkers, because when he's out there, he just doesn't want to come in. So the idea here is, if I can somehow harness the power of ghost, I am hopeful that he will show up as a ghost. Boy, that would make me just so happy. If, like, for the rest of eternity, Benny's hanging out there in the sun. Oh, my God. Bread Bull Brain Chris says he was very photogenic. What a sweet boy. Yeah, he was great. He was just a great dog. And I'm also glad that I got the one pic of all four of these knuckleheads together in one shot, all kind of looking up at me. The only way that they were able to get them to do that was because I was holding a treat. Never mind the bag of laundry here in this photo. But no, it was quite an outpouring. I'm very, very thankful with everybody who commented on the post. I am suspecting that Pellerito will mock Benny. That's what I'm expecting. I haven't seen it. And that it honestly doesn't bother me. As you know, after I took a big shit on John Domingo when he was in the hospital, and I had the image of the dancing pallbearers, and I said, come on, Lucky Sevens, Domingo's in the hospital. Pellerito posted last week, hey guys, Benny, the one-eyed wonder dog, is in the hospital. Come on, Lucky Sevens. So he was like hoping for the death of Benny. Now, I will say this. He did that in response to me and my shitty comment about Domingo. But let's put this into perspective. Domingo is the guy that posted the meme of him and Kate in front of Renee Good's car. And they were making that crack right after she died. All right? He's the guy that does that. It was a photoshopped image of him and Kate in front of Renee Good's car, and it had some horrible comment on it. So, you know, when I do what I do, that's who I'm aiming it at, that fat bastard. All right, so it would make sense that Domingo could make a crack about me. What about? I don't know. I mean, I'm the sweetest person on the planet. I would never dream of doing something that heartless. My point is, if they go low, I go lower. So I did. But to wish death on the dog, I mean, the dog didn't do anything to you. And the fact that you're like white knighting Domingo, if anything, it's between Domingo and myself. But you got to understand, Pellerito is a ride or die, and Domingo is his ride or die. For the longest time, I was his ride or die until it was disgusting. It was just too much. It was just so beyond a normal relationship. This type of, you know, putting his arms around me way too tight. So, yeah, last week he announced that Benny died. And Benny did die. So now I'm expecting Mike to also follow up with something else that's hateful. And, I'm kind of glad when he does that, because it again solidifies and emboldens me concerning my decision to push those animals away. All right. That's a fantastic thing that happened there. And I'm so much better off without that pack of garbage that is, supporting John's show now. Amy says, Rebecca says, if Pellerito does anything sideways regarding Benny, I'm going to need bail money. And Amy says, I got your bail money, no problem. Rich says, I just checked and literally nothing has been posted on their shitty page since January 29th. Chris in Buffalo says, don't bring dogs into the picture, Pellerito. Human trashing equals fine. Animals too far. Yeah, you don't want to fuck around with animals. Black Belt Nick says, we used a 3D printing place that does urns and memorials. When my dad died, they take pics and can make them. I can try to find the name for you. Oh, that'd be so sweet. Maureen says, I feel like it's an absolute privilege to be with a person or an animal when they cross over, no matter how hard it is. We were all with our brother. I was holding my dad's hand as he took his last breath, and I've been with many dogs as well. Yeah, it's true. There is something about it. I've never been with a human. And then Maureen sure makes it easy to hate Stalkerito. Yeah, he is a clown. He is an absolute clown. And I don't really have anything else to say about it. He's just an asshole. Horrible human being. Like, after my mom died, and he would make all sorts of attacks about my mother and cracks about my mom on that show. It all kind of like, I chalked it up as par for the course. And then for him after that to then reach out to me and say, hey, do you want to talk and repair the relationship? And I said, no, go fuck yourself. I don't want anything to do with you, you asshole. So, yeah, that's how I feel about Mike. Honestly, if Mike died, I would have a celebration. It would make me so happy. If any of those people died, it's dancing pallbearers. I don't want their dogs to die, but I'd like them to die. All right. So, anyway, as it all unfolded in front of our eyes in real time, I then just kind of came home, and I just felt like garbage. And I crashed with the dogs. Pooh Bear coming back today. That'll kind of brighten my day a little bit. But now here we are with our three. Pooh Bear made a comment prior to leaving. This is before Benny was actually crossed over to the Rainbow Bridge. And she goes, I think I'm done with dogs. I go, come on. I go, there's no way. She goes, it's too much to bear. I go, look, this is the way I look at this. Benny was with us for 7 years. And I mean, day after day of just fantastic. And you think about the dog would have been dead had Jacqueline not brought him into the house, which I'll just review that story real quick in a second. How he came to be. I go, it's not even close. I mean, especially if you adopt a dog, I mean, what you're doing for that pet and how the relationship goes. I can't stress enough how great pets are. So I don't buy that. I go, I think the number though is something that we should and I've talked about this before. It just gets to be a lot to negotiate. In fact, there was a time almost 3 years ago when Daisy went to the Rainbow Bridge, so we had 3 dogs. Well, then I'm minding my own business. I was at Bosco's Pub. I'll never forget it. And I get a phone text message, and it's Pooh Bear. This was like 2 weeks after Daisy went to the Rainbow Bridge, and she goes, how about this one? And it was Darla. And I'm like, oh, my God. And so what am I to do? I could say no. But I would never do it that way. I would always, I would probably just say, okay, now let's think about this. But I didn't. I wanted the dog. And here we are. And so then back to 4 dogs. No big deal. But with Benny's passing, yeah, that's, I really think from a pragmatic point of view that doesn't appear to be in the cards. However, if I say that usually means that will happen. Badger says over under on when EZ gets a new puppy. Skip says, getting another dog? if I were to get another dog, you see, here I go. I would go get it from the puppy pound. You know, like some dog that's been like, give me the dog that's been in the kennel the longest. One of those things. But I don't see that happening. So in April of 2019, I was cleaning out the garage, and Jacqueline pulls up in the driveway. Benny's in the car. Little did I know, this had been in the works for a couple of weeks, and everyone in the family was aware of it. But not like, hey, let's surprise Dad. He'll be so happy. More like, hey, don't tell Dad because we don't want him to freak out. If we just let him know the dog is here by showing up in the driveway, he won't say no. That's what the plan was. Sinister. Completely sinister. Minding my own business, sweeping out the garage. Jackie pulls up, and she's got a look on her face like she's up to no good. And I look at her, and she looks at me. She opens up the car door, and this skinny-ass dog comes out. You can see his ribs. And I go, what is this? And he immediately poops. She goes, this is Benny. And he looks at me. He's just had that procedure to take the eye out. I don't know what the hell was wrong with the eye. So it's all shaved. And there's a huge, Frankenstein type of, stitches across it. It looks like shit. I'm like, she goes, yeah, it's just temporary, Dad. I got somebody who's going to take this dog. And I go, really? You do, huh? Now, she's done this before. She worked at the vet, and one day she brought home this dog. Yeah, hey, somebody's going to take this dog. And the dog was Kira. And the dog got into a fight with Daisy, and Daisy bit me when I got in trying to break up the fucking fight. That was terrible. God. That's a helpless feeling when a dog with a really powerful jaw latches onto you. Bit my wrist, badly hurt me. My God, that was tough. So I'm like, yeah, I've heard that before, Jackie. And she's like, no, it's cool. But she didn't have anybody. She just knew that nature would take its course. And so, for about a week, he was here. And then one day, I was taking him for a walk. And I realized I was starting to like the dog, so I took him to the vet. And that was like the start of that. They said, okay, there's a lot wrong with this dog. All these things are wrong with it. So I paid for it. And then it was then that I go, all right, well, I guess he's ours now. I mean, nobody was going to adopt the dog. He's emaciated. He's got one eye and a big scar across his eye. He was heartworm positive, which resulted in a lot of care to get rid of that. And then he, afterwards, he needed all sorts of therapy, pharmaceuticals for his kidneys that were damaged. And he had a tick-borne kidney disease. He was heartworm positive. He had one eye. He was malnourished. We had no idea what his age was. Jacqueline just found out from a friend in San Antonio, hey, they posted a picture. This dog's going to be put down at sundown. If you want it, let us know, and we'll take it out of the die line. And sure enough, that's what Jackie did. All right, yeah, die line out. We're taking that dog out of the die line. It cost whatever this organization was to get the dog up here. The dog gets driven all the way up here for a day and a half from San Antonio, Texas. And they pay for that. And she picks it up over at the gas station in Kentwood or some shit. Next thing I know, Benny's here. April of 19, almost 7 years ago. I would guess Benny was at least 13, 14, maybe 15 years old. R.I.P. to Benny, the one-eyed wonder dog. Francis, the bouzouki player. Is that what I say? Bouzouki? Did I say it right? Writes, my shadow is sleeping next to me now. I love their companionship so much. So with Pooh Bear not being here, Darla is an absolute tyrant. Last night during the Super Bowl, she was attacking people randomly and biting. I've not really biting, but I have discovered something that she does do. If she is underneath our bed and you try to get her out of there, she will bite you. Like me, which is unbelievable. I found that out almost the hard way because I go, get out of there. And I don't know if she feels like that's her den or something, but that's a new thing. Megan is here. She says, does she like the NFK? She likes everybody, and then she doesn't like everybody. She'll turn on you in a second. She's just wired differently. Speaking of wiring, I'm attempting to repair the oven. So there's an igniter, and you turn on the gas, and that thing causes the oven to turn on. Well, the igniter's bad. So I managed to take what I need to do in the oven apart and remove the igniter. Then I was searching for the replacement part. It's hard to find. It's an older stove. Now, I took a page out of audience member Nick in the Arena's book. I said, what would Nick do? Now, if I went and got the genuine Whirlpool part, it's $100 for the part. Same part, Temu, Amazon, is $30. David in Hudsonville says YouTube video. Oh, no, I'm way ahead of you. I got it down. Installing it, not a big deal. Making sure I got the right part, another deal. I think I got the right part. Now, if it's not, I'm going to have to call Ron over at Ron's Appliances. There is no Ron at Ron's Appliances. Ron is dead. His son, Jeff, runs a joint. And that means it's going to be a lot more expensive. Now, while I'm doing that, I notice that the NFK has somehow made a mess, and there's a bunch of water on the floor. So I clean it up. I wipe it all up while I'm working on the stove. And then after I wipe it all up, there's water on the floor. And I go, what the fuck? I go, well, I guess he didn't make a mess. So I wipe it all up, and then I stepped, and it's laminate flooring. I noticed that it made like the sound like if you were stepping on a sponge. And I go, Jesus Christ, there's water under the fucking floor. I go, uh-oh. Look under the sink. This is right by the sink. I go, okay, I got a leak somewhere. Oh, my God. And then I figured out, because I don't want to go Hot Wings level of time on this story, that the dishwasher's leaking. And I'm like, oh, my God. So it's damaged the floor, and it's leaking. So I went ahead and shut the water off on the fucking thing. So I'm good. But I had to call the guys to fix it. Badger says better check for mold. Oh, I can guarantee you it's loaded with mold. Nick in the Arena says nothing worse than standing water on laminate. Even worse, I think, under it. Because, all the laminate is popping up now. Because underneath it, you got that whatever material, the flooring underneath it. Oh, that's plywood or whatever the fuck. But it doesn't like water. So now I'm like, fuck. By the way, how does one check for mold? You have to pull up the flooring? Is that what is that the next step here? Or do I just ignore it and hope that nothing bad happens? Bread Bull Brain Chris says time for a new floor. Probably. Bread Bull Brain Chris says ignore. Because the thing is, when you look at it, it doesn't look bad. But you can tell if you really look at it that it's kind of fucked up. Chris says the money gods are taking a fat dump on you. Precisely. When it was all said and done after the passing of Benny, I told you on Friday that it was a $7,500 bill to treat him, and I paid $6,500 of it. That I ended up not paying the full $7,500 because, he passed. He didn't need another day of hospitalization, but they definitely got me on the cost to euthanize the dog and the cremation. So there you go. They said, and it's so awkward because you're putting the dog down and they got, all right, so this is the cost. You got your card. Oh, God. There's no good way to do it, And then I'm picking out the urn. Now I went with no urn. I go, just, I want you to go watch that scene in The Big Lebowski when they put Donnie into the coffee can and gave it to the dude and Walter to spread the ashes over the Pacific Ocean. One of the greatest scenes in the history of film, frankly. And Walter's fucking talking about Vietnam. My God, what a great movie. Nobody saw it when it came out. It wasn't until well after the fact that people started to turn The Big Lebowski into a cult film. Nick says cheap urns on Amazon. I can one better. I'm going no urn. They're putting it in a pouch because I'm going to bury the cremains. So. All right. Speaking of film, there was a trailer for a film. I don't want to play the trailer. So hold on a second. It's Jim. Hold on. Hello, I'm podcasting. Is everything okay?
Yep, just wanted to call and say hi to you. Talk to you a little bit. Just call me when you're done. Nothing crazy. Just want to see how you're doing.
Okay, I love you.
All right, I love you too.
Bye. I always pick up when it's the kids. Rebecca says, turn his ashes into a diamond. Well, that's part of it. That's a secret that I'm going to give here. My son-in-law, Ash, says to me, goes, I need ashes because I'm going to make it into a diamond for Madison. Because that was her favorite dog. That was her heart dog. And I go, yeah, for sure. I just need some of them because I'm making a ghost farm. I'm going to make a ghost dog farm. If I can make my own pet cemetery, like the hallowed ground of up north, to become a pet cemetery, with the cremains, and then, but not like the movie where they come back and are psychopaths, like in that Stephen King book / film. But so I'll plant Benny as part of the ghost farm. And then all the other dogs love up north too. So we can do a whole, field of dog ghosts. I would so not be scared if I had dog ghosts. Because I don't know if that's, I would like to think that there are dog ghosts. I saw the preview during the Super Bowl, the trailer for the new Cliff Booth movie. What is it titled again? And some of you know what this is. The Adventures of Cliff Booth. The latest Tarantino film a few years back was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Brad Pitt plays Cliff Booth. I'm not going to get into the minutia because if you haven't seen it, I don't want to waste your fucking time. Just know that that's a great fucking movie. And Tarantino's a goddamn wizard. Holy shit, what this guy does to stories, it's amazing. And Pitt's one of my faves, and that character is one of my faves. So during the Super Bowl, they promoted that there's a Netflix film coming out called The Adventures of Cliff Booth, which picks up after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood ends. And I can't wait for it. The film is not directed by Tarantino. It's written by Tarantino. Tarantino wrote it, and then he said to his pal David Fincher, said, hey, you should make this movie. So I'm stoked about that. The Super Bowl yesterday came and went, and you know what? I don't want to hear, and you probably shouldn't say, is that this was a boring game. It was not a boring game. It was one of the most one-sided ass kickings you will ever see. It's a miracle that the Patriots got even 1 point in this game because Seattle beat the shit out of them from the beginning to the end. Early on, the Patriot defense was holding and playing outstanding to make up for the fact that their offense couldn't do shit. I think the Seahawks' plan was go in there and bash Drake May's brains in, and then he'll be so shitty that because of the pounding that he's getting, and it absolutely worked because they were doing a kind of like a synopsis of his shitty throws. Like there were guys who were wide open, and he's just airmailing these things. Ugh. My God. The Seahawks would have beaten them on field goals alone. They didn't even need to score a touchdown. Becca Shea says Kenneth Walker III. Yeah, he was outstanding. That guy, he's a beast. I shut it off with 5 minutes to go. So I don't know who the MVP of the game was. I'm going to guess it was Walker. Or maybe they made it the whole Seahawks defense. I'm not sure. But that was an ass kicking. God. Okay, here's my review of the halftime shows because I watched Bad Bunny's performance. And it was horrible. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. That might be, though, because I don't know anything about him. I've never heard his songs. That style of music is not mine. It wasn't in English. The only thing I thought worthy of paying attention to was Lady Gaga. I thought Lady Gaga was worth paying attention to, and Ricky Martin, even though he didn't speak, he wasn't singing in English either. But I'm not the guy who says, yeah, it was great because it's, because of all the shit going on in the world. No, it was horrible. It was awful. I was impressed. You know what I was impressed with? The They had from the perspective of the cameraman moving through the crowd, kind of like a one take vibe to it. And then all the performers that were made up the dancers, they had to be in the right spots at the right time. There were a lot of moving parts to make that all happen, but that's not what people are interested in when they watch halftime performances. This was hot garbage. And I don't want to hear anybody who loves the left tell me, oh, no, it was so good. No, it was shit. Okay? And he can't sing. The tone of that guy's voice, when he first started, I was like, is this what he sounds like? Awful. Absolute shit. And I wanted to like this. I wanted to be able to say, yeah, this was fucking great. It wasn't. It was so bad. I said the same thing about Kendrick Lamar last year. It's just shit. Piano Finger Banger says he's not a singer, LOL. Okay, whether it's singing, spoken word, rap, it wasn't pleasant to hear. It was bad on my ears. Everything about this was bad except for the points that I made. Ooh. Yuck. So bad. Francis says that was in a bar with a bunch of Spanish speakers all singing along, and it was so fun. Tofa says it would have been a lot better if it was at least captioned in English, like there was a story there, but I had no fucking clue what it was. Precisely. Megan says, I didn't understand a word, but I got it. The storytelling, even without English, felt strong. Well, then you must be smarter than I am, because I watch that fucking thing and I just didn't know what the fuck. This is my review. He comes flying out of the floor. Then he falls back into the floor, and then he gives some kid his Grammy Award, and then he's walking through tall grass, and then a bunch of dudes get electrocuted, and then he climbs a power pole, and then somewhere in there Lady Gaga is there, but I had to make sure it was Lady Gaga. And then the next thing I know, Ricky Martin's there looking a little bit older. And then it ended. And and then he shouted out all the countries in North and South America. Stevie says that kid was the kid that was detained by ICE. Well, that's interesting. That's actually pretty cool. Becca Shea says it was. Maureen says, no, it wasn't Stevie. He was an actor. Piano Finger Banger seconds Stevie, that the kid was the same one that was detained by ICE in the blue hat. Maureen says not true. Okay, what we might have here is we might have some false information. Megan says Maureen is right. Murder lover Linda says it's not the same kid. Megan says last night there were reports that it was. All right. So I'm guessing what happened there is Stevie and Piano Finger Banger saw something interesting online, and then they said, all right, it's right, it's true, because someone told me online, and then they show up here, and they give us their false information. Yeah, thanks for being a couple of lemmings, you two twats. Oh, my God, someone posted it online, it's true. That kid was Elian Gonzalez. Man Bun Chris says Justin Meetings wanted to pop in and say, love you, easy, R.I.P. Benny. Oh, thank you, buddy. Go back and check the beginning of the show. We talked about it. Piano Finger Banger says there were articles about it, you dick. Okay, look, I know what type of articles you were reading. All right? Most of the time, meaning 99 times out of 100, I never believe what I read online anyway. I always find out the truth. But you twats were like, yeah, I want this to be true because it's such a great story. Oh, my God, that kid that got beat up by ICE. Uh-huh. Badger says, how about Tom Petty and Prince return as holograms next year? I think we're done getting rock acts. First of all, there aren't any rock acts outside of maybe the Foo Fighters who might be able to pull off the Super Bowl. It'll probably be more artists that are similar to Kendrick Lamar or even Bad Bunny. I also paid attention to the Turning Point show, and equally shitty, even though I could understand all the lyrics. Kid Rock shows up, and he does Ball with the Ball, and he's lip syncing. It was really bad lip syncing. It wasn't even close. And the venue, it looked like an airport hangar, like an airplane hangar or like a warehouse. Like they went to the place wherever they were that is like a liquidation barn where they have a bunch of pallets from like fucking Sam's Club and Walmart. And there's like 100 people there. You could tell the crowd sounded really thin. And Bobby Ritchie shows up as Kid Rock, and he's lip syncing, so it's goddamn garbage. And then a bunch of people I don't know who they are played. It started with some guy who was dressed up. It looked like he actually tried to look like Charlie Kirk, whoever the fucking weirdo was that started the goddamn thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, this is for Charlie, which is fine. I get it, But it's like he's trying to be Charlie Kirk. He dressed like fucking Charlie Kirk. He looked like Charlie Kirk. I don't know who the fuck he is. And then they ended the show with Kid Rock again, but they introduced him as Robert Ritchie. So I guess and he's singing like some slow country song. And I think he is born again now. And it was like a tearjerker to hillbillies everywhere. I would give both of these performances Fs. They were terrible. But if I had to say which one that I would be more likely to watch, I would say, like if someone said you have to pick one being better than the other, I would say the Turning Point USA show was better than Bad Bunny. There was so little redeeming or interesting about Bad Bunny. In fact, to me, the only thing that was interesting about Bad Bunny was how shitty it was. Now, Turning Point USA was weird. It was weird and shitty, but I give it the nod because I could understand the words. The stupid, shitty country songs, the goddamn lip syncing, fuck you, Kid Rock, fuck you, Bobby Ritchie. Everything about these shows was absolute shit. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. At least the Turning Point one, they didn't spend a ton of money to put it all together. They just jumped up on stage and played these stupid fucking songs. Rebecca says, easy, it's staff meeting time. Thank you so much for the reminder. I am now going to go to the radio station staff meeting, but I will be back with more after the staff meeting. Till then, have a good one, and bye-bye. All right, that is Act 1 of the podcast. Act 2 is available right after this one. Go check it out. What are you doing? Don't miss a second of it. Thank you so much.